Hey guys, welcome back to Vepr 12 All Day. Thank you once again for tuning in and supporting the channel. Today we have a quick video for you. We're going to tackle a commonly asked question about the Vepr 12, how to remove and reinstall the fire control group. Let's get into it. So this is going to be a supplement to my detailed field stripping and reassembly video. If you're newer to the platform or have never taken Vepr 12 apart, go ahead and check that one out. There is important info in there that you need to know. As you can see, we have removed the recoil, assembly, carrier, and bolt from the gun. It's also missing the dust cover. Mine is on a quick disconnect. Yours will be flipped up into the 90-degree position. And that's how we're going to start. We're working with a gun that has the factory components in there, factory mainspring. And to get this one going, you're going to make sure that the safety is in the off or fire position. You're going to put some pressure on that hammer, and you're going to release the trigger. If you don't hold your thumb there like that, you will beat up the internals. You'll get a nice little dent on your bolt hold open, and you don't want that. Once you have that hammer forward, you're going to take your safety lever and you're going to rotate it all the way up to about 90 degrees. At that point, it should free up and you can wiggle it right out of there. If you have a side folding Vepr, there's going to be a corresponding thumb safety on this hand, and that should also just pull straight out for you. At that point, with your hammer forward, you grab your twist tie, your needle nose pliers, and you come in from the back and grab up under the arms of your mainspring and tuck them one at a time in front of the hammer. Okay? So that they are sitting nicely there like that. You then take your twist tie and tie it around those arms, nice and snug, twist it tightly. Your next step is going to be to remove this retainer plate. It's holding the rear and front axis pins in place. You're going to grab your pick tool or small screwdriver, and making sure that that hammer is forward and out of the way, you're going to tuck this behind the plate and either pull and get some tension on there, hold that tension and reach your finger in, or just hook behind the end of that plate and rotate it up and out. At that point, grab your needle nose pliers, get a good angle on that, and pull it up and out of there. Once that retainer plate is out of there, we're going to push out our axis pins with the punch. You can get ready on the opposite side and give that rear one a gentle push. Should come right out. The front one may take a little bit of jostling the hammer, and that one will come right out. At that point, you can lift out the trigger group, set it to the side, and with the hammer, what you want to do is just give a gentle twist, and that'll lift right out of there. Reassembly is a tad more tricky, but not by much. You want to take this hammer and you want to singe up these coils as much as you possibly can. Keep your thumb on there for a little tension, and you're going to have to come in and do some twisting so that these coils get below the rails and then twist into place while taking care to make sure that the coils don't get caught up on the bolt hold open, and that you could slide that assembly into place. Before you try to reinsert the front axis pin, you're going to have to make sure that the bolt hold open release tab is situated properly within the receiver of the gun. That is, that it's hanging down here into the trigger guard. Once you've got that properly situated, go ahead and grab your axis pin, insert it through the left side of the receiver and into the hammer axis. At this point, you'll want to grab that bolt hold open release tab so that it doesn't get jostled around, and you will gently insert your axis pin while giving a little jostle to the hammer, looking through the pin channel on the right side of the gun until it pops through the bolt hold open, and then you could align it into place with that pin channel. Bit of a tricky maneuver there. You will then grab your trigger group and drop it into the receiver. Give it a little wiggle until it is sitting flush with the bottom of the receiver. Then grab your second axis pin, put it through the left side of the receiver, through the axis of the trigger group, and with the same kind of maneuver, you're going to adjust the trigger group until you can see through the right side of the receiver that the pin is in line and can come out through that pin channel. Now for the tricky part, getting the retainer plate back into the gun. I'm going to illustrate this for you with one of the axis pins. Each axis pin has this little notch. So if this is sitting towards the left side of the receiver, your goal will be to jam this retainer plate between the left side of the receiver and the mainspring so that it engages this notch. So the reason that's tricky is that you are working against spring tension, and you're also kind of poking into the blind here. So with your pliers held tightly, you're going to try to engage that notch till it slips forward a little bit. Then you're going to rotate this down, and you will feel some resistance. You have to keep forward pressure and downward pressure till you get past the rail. It's going to click into place under the bottom of that rail as long as you keep enough forward pressure on there. Now you're also engaging the other axis pin with the second notch that's towards the back of the retainer plate as well. So you have to make sure that you're working against all that, the pins don't slip out of place, and all that fun stuff. You will know that the retainer plate is in place if you can push against these axis pins with a little bit of force and they don't come out of there because that plate is keeping them retained. At that point, you're going to hold some tension on that spring. You're going to undo the zip tie. And one at a time, left side first, you can gently let those arms fall back into place. I want to make sure to give you guys a nice top-down view of what I'm doing. When you're resetting the arms of this mainspring, you want to make sure that they're sitting correctly on these little support bars back here. See how that is kind of cockeyed? Okay? If they're crossed up or cockeyed, you want to release that so that they're all the way down and that these notches are sitting on these support bars where they should be. You will then take your safety lever and from the right side to the left, reinsert it while it's at 90 degrees Make sure it lines up to the pin channel on the left side and just rotate it on down. You can then make sure that your hammer will recock carefully. You're working against spring tension now. And then make sure that your trigger will disconnect it while holding some tension down on the hammer and release the trigger. And that is a properly installed fire control group. So that's the extent of this video. As you can see, we've got the gun reassembled. The last step in the reinstallation of your trigger group will be to make sure the chamber is clear. We've got a flag in ours. Make sure the safety is down and depress the trigger one time as a test fire. There you go. That is removal and reinstallation of the Vepr 12 fire control group. Thanks for watching.